Donald Trump spent the GOP primary season touting the fact that he was self-funding his campaign.
I'm self-funding my campaign. Self-funding my campaign. I'm self-funding my campaign. I'm putting up my own money.
His message was clear. He wouldn't be bought off by big donors, unlike his opponents, who he said were puppets for taking contributions from wealthy funders. Through March, his campaign spent more than $47 million fending off all his rivals. About $36 million of that came from Trump himself. Much of the balance came from the sales of campaign merchandise, like T-shirts and mugs. But now that Trump is the presumptive Republican nominee, his run for president is about to get a lot more expensive. He's now reversed course on his pledge to self-fund and will be raising donations both large and small. He says he wants to ensure his campaign has the resources to compete with Hillary Clinton's fundraising juggernaut. It might seem strange for a man who says he's worth $10 billion, but a close analysis of Mr. Trump's finances shows that in terms of ready cash, he would be ill-equipped to foot the bill himself. Here's a look at the numbers. President Barack Obama spent $721 million in 2012 up until Election Day, and Mitt Romney spent $449 million in that same stretch. If Trump's campaign were to follow these patterns, he likely wouldn't have had enough income and cash on hand to cover the full cost himself, according to a Wall Street Journal analysis. He had between $78 million and $232 million in cash and relatively liquid assets, like stocks and bonds, when he began his campaign last summer.
Unbelievable! Unbelievable!
That could be used up quickly if he wants to keep pace with spending levels of the previous election cycle. This year, Trump's businesses are likely to produce about $160 million before taxes. This figure is based on a Wall Street Journal analysis that used financial filings, public documents, and interviews to estimate the income Trump receives from the 170 assets he listed on his financial disclosure statement. Trump says the journal's analysis doesn't take into account other sources of income, such as 114 licensing deals the Trump Organization is negotiating, which he says would generate, quote, hundreds of millions of dollars. Trump campaign spokeswoman Hope Hicks said, quote, the income number is wrong by a lot, but Mr. Trump said, who cares? It doesn't matter. Trump has said the Republican National Committee would be spending heavily on his behalf, just as it has in the past. The RNC spent $386 million supporting Romney in 2012. But that alone wouldn't have been enough to make up the shortfall if Trump's war chest is going to resemble Romney's or Obama's. To keep his self-funding pledge, he would have had two options. Option one, he could have borrowed more against his assets. Some of Trump's top assets include the commercial space in Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue in New York City and the Mar-a-Lago Club in Palm Beach, Florida. The problem? Trump has been reluctant to take on a lot of debt in the current stage of his business career, partly because he was hurt so badly by leverage in his early years. Option two, he could have sold existing assets. The problem? Most of his assets would take months to sell, and getting top dollar can be difficult if buyers know the seller wants the money quickly. But now, by accepting donations, Trump runs the risk of undermining one of the pillars of his candidacy, that he is a billionaire who can't be swayed by big money.